Hello. Hello. Anyone around here speak basketball?
Taking Bobby Webster.
This is Adam Silver.
Vision 6-9. Welcome to the Confederacy of Dunks Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Freddie Rivas. And who, sir, on the other side are you?
Me? I'm your producer. I'm Matt Duncan. Whoa, I don't know why I went so high there. I must be real excited for this new season starting up.
Wow, that's one of the creepiest sounds I've ever heard.
We did talk about It the Clown last week a lot. So, yeah, I feel like I'm really embodying the Halloween flavor, as it will.
Yeah, that was a Pennywise voice if I've ever heard one.
In a sewer grate. Me?
Yeah. I want to forget that and never hear it again, please. Yeah.
So sorry about that.
No, it's good. This is a Raptors /NBA podcast. We are hardcores. We are with Raptors Republic. I have changed my intro to Vision 6-9 for the year. I still trust in Masai, but new year, new intro saying for no reason but to just keep it fresh. Maddie, before we, start bringing folks in here, anything you want to say off the top?
I guess the only thing I'll say is that the paywall at Raptors Republic has started up. Again, it doesn't affect the podcast, but the editorials are now behind a paywall. So it's time to contribute and chip in, and we'd all appreciate it. Seems like it's going great so far. So yeah, just, head over to raptorsrepublic.com. There's, things you can click there to subscribe. Click on an article, it will prompt you, or you can do it the old-fashioned way if you like to get your glasses on and just go to, raptorsrepublic.com/subscribe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, get the glasses on. I love that. Get in there, people. Samson just put out a great article about Precious today. Before we bring the two guests on, I will just say it was recently her birthday. So free Brittany Griner. If you don't know what I'm talking about, familiarize yourself. It's a total travesty. I'm going to keep saying it until she's free. Okay, let's bring on guest number one. It's his first time doing the podcast. I've been wanting to have him for a long time. He's a hilarious dude, a great Raptors Twitter presence. He's with The Score. He was formerly with Raptors Republic. All sorts of amazing analysis and just like jokes, and I'm really excited to have him on the podcast because it seems like a perfect guest. Give it up as loud as you can, even if you're at home alone, for Esfandiar Baraheni.
Hey. I might just spit a 16 on this. That's good. Yeah.
This is a nice one.
Raptors Republic.
Gotta subscribe. You gotta pay wall.
Pay that wall. Yeah, pay that.
Listen, they gotta hire you for a testimonial.
Listen, man. I'd be right there. Front of the line for the Raptors Republic stuff. You said I'm funny. You said I do the jokes. I feel like that makes me so much more insecure to do this podcast. I'm not ready.
I should have said he's so serious. Don't
so
joke around him.
Yeah.
He's absolutely, he'll give you a stern ass face.
No, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's been a while. We've been trying to do this. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you being on the pod. I'm really excited to have you. Let's bring on guest number two. I just did his podcast recently, Down by Two. Play fantasy basketball with him. He's a comedian. He's hilarious. He's one of those guys that knows all sports. He had an insane Allen Iverson casino story in Detroit. So you got to listen to the podcast for that one. But give it up as loud as you can, even if you're home alone, for Joshua Elijah. Oh yeah, sick. Now we're on the beach getting high.
I thought that song sounded familiar. I've been waiting a while to hear that. What's going on, boys? How we doing?
Good. Yeah, I feel like your song is like I don't know. There's a touch of sadness there or something. Like someone's driving drunk or something went bad. You know? Like,
Jeez. I just wanted to point and just do the sprinkler. You know, that's what it made me feel like. Summertime.
Gotta love the
vibes
sprinkler.
there.
Gotta love
Absolutely,
the
man.
sprinkler.
How have you been? What's going on?
Good, man. Good. Speaking of the sprinkler, I was the warm up guy for Family Feud Canada that season. Just
That's right. That's right.
yeah, it was crazy. So many episodes. It was fun. I often dance my way on there, and to pump the crowd up, we'd play like whatever and just dance in our seats, sort of thing. And if people were looking stiff, I'd bust out the sprinkler. I would definitely bust out. And people would be like, "I know what's going on. This guy's doing the sprinkler." Plus,
Man.
you can do the slow one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love that. There's a few different moves that I follow on TikTok, and one of my favorite ones lately has been the lawnmower. You need two people, but you rev it up by grabbing your friend's hind legs, and then you just start revving it up, and then next thing you know, you start walking around mowing the lawn. It's it's tough, let me tell you.
I'll let you guys in on a secret. I've developed a dance move recently. I actually am trying to get my wife to do it a lot, but she's not down. She doesn't like it. It's called the seatbelt. Okay, I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Have you guys heard of the seatbelt? Yes.
No, I want to know about it.
Okay, so
share.
Hey.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you see it, right? You see
There you go.
I'm
There it
working
is.
on it. It's a prototype.
Three simple steps. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Safe. It's fun.
It's safe.
It's educational.
Damn right.
Safety first. I like it.
Okay, let's jump right into some Raptors stuff.
sure.
Matty D, good sir. Give me your weirdest, loudest, most bizarre Raptors sting. There we go, baby. What's he saying in the queue? Nobody knows.
Classic. Love it.
Someone in a hallway yelling something. It's echoing a bit too much. It's Raptors fans assemble. But the assemble seems like, the 300 scene where they kick down the well. Yeah. It's a weird tone for sure.
Upset stomach. Yeah.
Yeah. Upset stomach for sure.
Yeah.
Let's start with you, Joshua. I'm saying Joshua. Josh?
Hey, it's all good, either or. I feel like when people get to know me more, then it's Joshua. So maybe we're on that.
Whoa.
Maybe we're on that level,
Okay.
right?
Joshua
Maybe
Tree Elijah.
Joshua Tree Elijah. I love it.
Okay. I guess I'm just going to say plainly, how big of an issue do you think shooting is going to be with this Raptors team?
Well, like last year it definitely was an issue. Let's just be honest. Just looking at some of the numbers from last year, Raptors are 20th in 3-point percentage, and field goal percentage. They were 25th, effective field goal percentage 27th in the league. I think they're like 19th maybe for 3-point attempts as well. So their issue last year was poor mid-range shooting. Why? I don't know. I don't know why Nick Nurse kind of switch things up, because that's really not his style. I don't understand why mid-range shooting became such a thing, and why we were so poor at it. But I don't foresee that being the same issue moving forward this year as much. And I think because it has to do with the emergence of Scotty Barnes, Point Scotty, and the mixture of him and maybe seeing Pascal Siakam bringing the ball up the court more often. And not only that, you're going to have, Nick Nurse said it himself on media day and impressors that like he wants like people like Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes and OG Anunoby like crashing the rack a little bit more, bringing the ball to the rim. And that will open up a lot more catch and shoot threes for people like Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. I think that's a lot of it. A lot of it will be able to, create more catch and shoot threes. Fred VanVleet playing off the ball a little bit more is definitely going to help, I think. So I think because of that, the Raptors shouldn't see the same kind of slump that they had last year and the poor shooting efforts that we saw. I could be wrong. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that.
I think you're dead wrong. No.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, but
I mean, I'm a lot more optimistic about this. I was pretty high on the Raptors last year. I'm even higher this year. And my sort of take, I'm going to leave some for Esfandiar here, but like I think that we're heading into the year with a healthy Pascal is a pretty big game changer for the overall vibe of the team. Just read on Twitter that Otto will be out game one, and potentially Birch and Boucher as well. But my sort of, I don't want to be too in between with my take here, but I think part of what the Raptors do, and Nurse was saying this in, he was interviewed on the Raptors show by Will Liu. And he was sort of just saying that like we don't draft shooters, we bring in athletic guys who can do everything else, and we teach them how to shoot. Everyone knows the stuff about Nurse being a shot doctor, so I think it's kind of a patience thing where we teach people how to shoot. That said, it's not always linear, so I do think it's going to be, when I say big issue, I feel like it's going to be the difference. Like if the Raptors shoot really well, I think we're going to have the ability to blow teams out. And I think if we don't shoot really well, we might see some slumps and we might see some kind of ugly games. That I think some of those games we're still going to win,
but closer, because we're going to be able to win them with defense, hopefully, which is what
I think so, right? Like,
what we're primed for.
We definitely have a chance to be like a top 7, top 5 defense this year. But where are you at with shooting this year, Esfandiar?
I think it's the biggest swing skill for this Raptors team this year. Just to build off the numbers that Josh brought up, like looking at cleaning the glass, they were actually last in 3-point percentage on all threes.
Wow.
Cleaning the glass is it refines it a little bit more than NBAstats.com because it takes out garbage time. So they were dead last year in 3-point percentage. They were, actually sorry, this is preseason numbers, so I apologize. This is the preseason where they were dead last, so the shooting hasn't necessarily translated. It's actually worse.
The preseason looked rough.
Shooting. But I will say, look, I get it. I think there is a reason to be more optimistic about what's happening on the shooting front this year. I think adding Otto Porter Jr., who has been like a dead-eye marksman type shooter his entire career.
Sure.
Going to be a massive part of this. I think the fact that Precious Achiuwa had the shooting streak that he had to end the season and kind of come into this season, just attempting more threes will be a big factor. And then you have Scotty Barnes, who has mentioned like ad nauseum. He's mentioned on Raptors Media Day, I think he mentioned it like 6 times, how he's been working on his catch and shoot jumper, how his catch and shoot is like a big point of emphasis for him this season. So if that can, at least get up to, I would say, like a 32, 33, 34, 35% on catch and shoot attempts, and Precious ups the attempts, I think we'll have a better Raptors shooting team. Now, that being said, I don't think they'll be elite. I think there will be nights where they're very streaky. I think there will be, like I said, it's the swing skill for them. It's really like if they end up shooting well for a month, they may be one of the best teams in the NBA for that month. If they don't, they may have to, kind of settle on grinding out games, the whole bully ball stuff. And I'm sure you guys obviously read it, but like Samson talks about it all the time, but like it's this like wrestling type of basketball that they like to play, where they're grinding out a lot of possessions. They're trying to get offensive rebounds. I think that will be their bread and butter, but the shooting, it will get better. I do think so.
Yeah, a lot of good points. And I think, one thing that's not said a lot as far as like the offensive rebounding thing is you gotta miss a lot of shots to have those offensive rebounding opportunities. But I sort of want to jump on what you said about Precious and attempts. And I think this isn't talked about enough, not just with Precious, but, around the league, is, spacing is a weird thing where, it's about the attempts. And if you pass up those attempts, obviously there's glaring, examples like a Ben Simmons. But, I even remember in the Raptors finals run, fans were all over Danny Green for not hitting a ton of threes.
Marc Gasol too.
Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
But like, if you watch the way teams guarded Danny Green, they never got to a point where people were like, let's leave Danny.
Yeah.
At no point were teams about to leave him from three. And that was like a reputation that was built up. So, a really good point about Precious, I think, because if he hits a point where he sort of, is not really bringing it from three and then tries to change it up, like that could be bad from a confidence perspective. Like, it depends. Like, we saw it with Boucher, right? We're in the Tampa year, he was relied on for scoring more, and then, transfer over the next year and he was less relied on. So he was kind of hucking shots for a little bit. And then he's like, okay, screw this. I'm going to meditate. I'm an energy guy. I'm going to make a difference that way. Precious might do the same, but like, yeah, I think it's a key point there, because who's going to pass up the three? Like, what about a guy like Banton? If he's out there, is he going to take those threes?
Yeah.
What if Scotty he starts his year 0 for 20 from three? Is he going to, is he going to be left open and then still not shoot? I think it's big.
Gary's still going to fire regardless as well. I mean, we saw him go through his slumps, and he will shoot regardless. Looking at last year's numbers, though, I mean, this is surprising, but the Raptors, you talk about attempts, field goal attempts that they had last year, they're fourth in the league. So that shows that they put them up. I'd like to see the numbers on how many of those were off of offensive rebounds and cleaning the glass, like you were talking about.
I would imagine a good chunk.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I think that's just a byproduct. Like, that's how they want to play. They've realized that, like, their half court offense, which was, I believe, 26 last year, it realistically isn't going to improve that much. Although I think there is a chance with the better shooting and, obviously Siakam being healthy, there's a chance their half court offense can be a little bit better this year. But at the same time, they know that they got to get these, like, they have to win the possession battle every single night just for them to be able to keep up offensively. And on top of that, Nurse mentioned something about transition in that Will Lou interview.
I was just going to say, yeah.
They left a lot of points on the board last year by not finishing in transition well. They got out in transition a lot, but they didn't score a lot in transition. And I think that's a huge point of emphasis with a team that's this long, this athletic, that can get up and down the court, and especially in the style that they want to play. If you can finish in transition and be one of the best transition teams, it's okay to have a subpar half court offense, and you can kind of survive that way.
Yeah, well said. I think a guy like Precious alone, just that kind of combination of skills he has, he'll be the type of guy who can finish in transition, not double dribble, not, travel, just like small things like that. And I feel like he's really going to, be able to kill it in that regard this year. Let me move on to question 2. And I'm going to stick with you, Esfandiar. Which Raptor do you think is going to change the way that people feel about him the most?
So I guess my question is, like, does that mean in a positive or a negative way, or either? Like,
I feel like either. Like, for instance, people think Scotty is going to absolutely just like be, threatened to be an all-star.
Right.
And if he sort of is like really far away from that, are we going to be like, oh, wait a second, let me reframe Scotty's career arc? But it could be, in a positive, like,
Sure. I will surprisingly say Fred. And I say this in a good way. I think a lot of people saw the second half of Fred VanVleet, and maybe this is maybe just a conversation for Raptors Twitter, but it seems like there's an overwhelming consensus that, we need to stop giving him the ball. He needs to be off ball more. He needs to learn, to be an off ball player. And I get that. I understand why that is, but at the same time, I think we are severely underrating his value to this team by doing that. And on top of that, look, he was not by far, but there's an argument to be had that he was the best shooter in the NBA last season. On top, better than Steph Curry, better than Seth Curry, better than Buddy Hield, whoever you want to call it. He put up the most shots, and it was the most efficient 3-point shooting season of the NBA last season. That is valuable. And on top of that, he is, I'd say, one of the best point of attack defenders at the guard position when he is fully healthy and when he is fully engaged, which he is a good amount of time. I think he brings something that is invaluable to this team. And you really can't find it anywhere else. I think a lot of people will start to realize how important Fred is to this team because it kind of went by the wayside when Pascal came back and Scotty's emergence and then Precious. So a lot of people kind of forgot about Fred at, March and April, especially with that knee issue. But
Right, with the injury, yeah.
yeah, I think now it's like, look, you will realize how important Fred is to this team. And especially with that contract coming up, that's going to be a big incentive for him too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't agree with you more. Like, it breaks my heart how people talk about Pascal and Fred sometimes. Like Raptors fans in particular, you expect
It kind of reminds you of Kyle and DeMar, doesn't it, though?
a
little bit.
a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
They were both remind me of Kyle and DeMar in a lot of ways, and similar to like the arc of those two. I've said to people, and I get looked at like I'm like wild eye. I think this is the year that Pascal and Fred are all stars together.
Right.
And
What was that 2016, I believe, right? With
for Kyle and
Toronto,
DeMar.
right? Yeah.
Because they were they sort of had good seasons, but I think DeMar perhaps was injured to begin the season or something. I forget how it worked when Kyle went without him, but I sometimes we get stuck with the last image we see, and people forget that Fred absolutely carried this team for the first couple months. No disrespect to OG, who was amazing, but they even forget about Fred's franchise 50, is it 53 or 54 points?
I think it was 54.
54. Like
54.
we forget about that. And to me, he's always been similar to Kyle Lowry in that the better the team is, the more he just is sort of like, okay, great. I don't have to do this, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be less effective. Like
Yeah,
I'm going to get more assists. I'm going to be a better defender. Like he'll integrate himself. Like the more talent he has around him, it kind of goes back to his college days with Wichita, where he's like, fine, all these guys are going to get drafted. They all are more important to me or more important to the league, than I am. But, I was a part of like that crazy win streak we went on. I absolutely love Fred. I think he's going to be insane this year. And, maybe his points go down a little bit, but I think that he's going to hurt people on the court, in a bunch of ways.
On top of that, man, like there is the intangible of him being the leader of that team.
Totally.
And like, yeah, Pascal is the leader, in like a Kawhi sense where he leads by example, sort of. But I think Fred is the outspoken vocal guy in that locker room. And that's huge. I mean, I don't think there's
The heartbeat. Yeah.
Yeah, the heartbeat of the team. And look, like a lot of people will bring up the extension coming up and, what's going to happen with that. Of players that are up for an extension, I am the most confident that Fred VanVleet will get re-signed with the Toronto Raptors. One, because, there's not a lot of playoff caliber type teams that are going to be looking for a guy like Fred in the summer that have money. And the second thing is like just the importance to the franchise. He is in a lot of ways that torchbearer. So, I mean, all that is just intangible stuff that is way too invaluable, and like people constantly underrate that stuff. So it is what it is, but he'll remind people this year. I think so.
Yeah. I hope we have like a Fred and Dine, to keep him around. And like,
I think that's already started. I think that
Fred-
some
Fred
places
and
have already
Fed.
been doing that. Yeah.
Fred and Fed. Okay.
Fred
that's
and Fed,
yours.
baby.
That's
Love
yours. It doesn't belong to
I
us.
love it.
Fred and Fed. That has to be like buffet style. Like if there's any buffet, like he just gets to go there for free.
Yeah. Mandarin.
But yeah, it's like it's all any Mandarin, you're in, buddy. It's only 20
Across
bucks
Ontario.
anyways, but
Yeah.
you're in. But yeah, Fred he's such an intangibles guy. He's a citizen of Canada now.
Yeah.
But and a leader, back to that nurse interview, he sort of referenced like playing, like trying new things like the box and one. And, he talked about telling Kyle like, hey, this is what we want to do. And Kyle takes it to the team. That's going to happen with Fred this year. He's not going to be like, hey, Pascal, here's what we're running. Can you tell the guys? He's going to, Fred's a point guard. He's going to tell Fred. And to that end too, I think I'm all for Pascal handling the ball, Thaddeus handling the ball, Scotty handling the ball. But I think that in a way, people are forgetting about that. Fred's going to handle the ball the most
Oh, of course.
and make the most on-court decisions, and that will be the best for the team.
Yeah.
Not to say that like, hey, like different change-ups are going to be great, and hopefully let's get him some rest. But where are you at, Josh, as far as like who's a player you think is going to change their or people will have a perspective change on?
Well, just to build off of the Fred stuff as well, and not again, you're absolutely right. Like people are gonna have to expect him to carry the ball. I think it's just because of the usage rate that they had with them last year, and just obviously because that ended up hindering his injury as well. So
he led the league in minutes, and then he got hurt.
It's nuts. So like we drove him into the ground last year. So I feel like that's why we're probably going to see a little bit more mix-ups with Pascal and Scotty Barnes bringing up the ball as well. And then that's opens up opportunities for him for those catch and shoot threes.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can obviously display his energy and other factors like being an on-ball defender, which is like, obviously it's going to be exciting. So, I mean, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, take him off the ball. I'm just saying like, it's probably because of the usage rate that we had last year on him.
Josh, can I just say something real quick?
Yo.
So, your name on here says Jish instead. And that's completely fine. I like it, but in Persian that means pee. So I'm just letting you know.
Jish, yeah.
I'm just okay. Every time I see it, I'm like,
You know what? It's funny because in other like in other languages, like Jush as well. I think Jush means pimple.
That's the same language.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
So there's Jish, which is pee, and then Jush, which is pimple.
It's actually Jish. It all started as a typo because the O was pretty close to an I on the keyboard, and then Jish turned into Jishalish, and then Jishalish Yamish, and it just ended up turning off into this whole other thing. So now it's just kind of like Jish on purpose. Every now and then. I mean, it was a handle on another podcast, and I just kept it. So
never change.
No,
change.
No, Jish doesn't change. There's steady Jish.
Steady Jish. Steady Jish, steady flow, baby.
That's amazing.
Thank you for looking out for me. I don't want to be.
He's pissing everywhere.
Pee bag over here. A big old bag of piss. So for me, it's.
I'm sorry if I just threw a wrench in the podcast with that, but
you're good, Mikey. You're good.
Never be sorry about pee related jokes.
Speaking of pee, I'm going spicy pee. I'm going
huge.
I'm going Pascal Siakam, and here's why. We missed our deadline to extend him, which was recently. So he, I believe the number is we could have given him 3 years, 125 mil, and we did not do that. So because I guess now he's betting on himself for a potential supermax extension. So if he makes an all NBA team, then he qualifies for that supermax. So why the hell not would he be playing out of his goddamn mind this year and reach new heights as well? I love the idea. I mean, why not Freddie and Spicy P making it to the All-Star game together? I think Pascal Siakam and Freddie, I know you're really high on him as well. He's going to have an incredible year, man. I can feel it already. And like you mentioned before, just him starting off the season healthy and not having to work his way back into team chemistry come November or December is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. And it's going to help us on defense as well. Like the Raptors started off brutally on defense last year, and then we ended up finishing something like 7th within the final second half of the year. Yeah. So yeah, I think Pascal Siakam is, and on the internet loves to hate on Pascal. Everyone thinks that he is overrated and all those jokes about him just being a fidget spinner. And I mean, like, I think he's got something to prove. It is absolute slander to see his 2K ratings as well. I mean, I know that's not for real, but like it is fucking slander. But for me, I think Pascal Siakam is going to have a huge year. He's got something to prove. I mean, he made the All NBA third team last year, and that's with him being injured for a bit. I don't see why not. His ceiling can't be any higher than what it was last year. So, sky's the limit for him. I think he's gonna have a breakout year.
Love it. I love it. Mine is it's also a positive. Mine is OG. I think the OG is gonna take a big step, or he's gonna level up. Has been a running joke for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even saying that he's going to take some like quantum leap, but I think he's at that point in his development where it's incremental, but like every little bit that's like, he improves is just going to be that much more visible on the court. We saw a dash of it in that Boston game, what he's capable of.
Mhm.
Like what he's capable of in terms of defense and offense. Like he was just all over that game. Obviously it's preseason, yada, yada. But like, I think that the biggest thing he needs is to play more than 43 games. And I feel like I've made this point so many times, but having a healthy Pascal to start the year, the trickle down of that is just going to be more flexibility for everyone.
Mhm.
And I think that, some of the better offensive performances we've seen from OG come without Pascal in the game. And I think he's ready to bring those at the same time as Pascal. And when I say like the, change, I sort of go back to, and this isn't like any slander whatsoever towards Scotty, but I think OG has, with those rumors about like needing the ball more, etc. I think he's going to take it a little bit personal that people think Scotty's already better than him, and he's going to like reclaim his spot as the third best player on the team.
You've been loving this take, and
This
I'm
is
all
this is
for it.
yeah. I've been going pretty hard on this take.
Yeah.
And it's not a like slow down on Scotty as
No,
much
no,
as
no,
it
not at all.
is like, don't forget about OG being such a well-rounded player. And I know he can't dribble or pass like Scotty, but the guy can shoot the hell out of the ball and he can lock down anyone. And, I just think he's a special player.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I think OG is currently still the better player over Scotty. But I agree with you.
Me too.
I feel like it is a little bit haste to jump and be like, oh, Scotty's already better than him. I think there's tantalizing skills. There's like the being enamored with what he can potentially be, and that's totally fine. I think Scotty will, and a lot of people have said it, will end up being a star in this league. But will end up being is the key part of that sentence. He's not currently a star in the league. And I think, that'll happen over time. And OG right now is one, arguably the best defender on the team. And two, he is maybe the second best shooter. No, he is. It's either him or Gary, but he's probably one of the best shooters on the team. He's working on developing his own shot. Every year that's gotten a little bit better. Although, last year he had some kinks in what happened. I think the biggest thing with him, and to your point, Freddie, is like getting healthy, being healthy, having a full season where we can see it all happen and unfold, because it hasn't happened over the last 2 seasons. And, I don't think a lot of that was his fault. He's had nick or knack injuries here and there, but like, just stay healthy and then we can see what we have here for the year. So.
Yeah, because and I think well said that it is, it's important to say certain guys struggle with health in terms of like, it's always the same thing and they can't get past a certain injury. OG's had all sorts of stuff like broken finger, appendix, obviously ACL in college, but it's different things. So I think that's important to remember. And I think he's sort of like, he carries himself like he's a bit clunky, so maybe he's like hard on his own body. Like I just saw someone say he's the heaviest person on the team this year.
I just tweeted that.
Nice.
Yeah, that was like an hour ago. He is 250 pounds and he's the heaviest player on the Toronto Raptors this season, which is surprising because he's like, when you see him in person, he does not seem like 250 pounds and he does not seem like he's the heaviest player on the team. But
that's wild to me. Like not even like Kem Birch is weighing in under that too.
No.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kem is actually the lightest player on the team, 110 pounds. Believe it or not, somehow, some way, the guy's 110. It's absolutely wild. His jeans are size 0, so absolutely insane. Okay, let's wrap this baby up. I'll bring Maddie back in here, but first, let me go to you, Esfandiar. You're all over Raptors Twitter. I think if you are a Raptors fan and you don't follow him, I don't know, check your algorithms or something. But make sure you do. What do you want to plug? What do you want to let people know?
Nothing really to plug here right now. Just follow me on Twitter. I'm gonna be doing some changes to career-wise that I will be announcing over the next week or so,
Ooh,
and that
nice.
I'm very excited about, and
on.
we'll see where that takes me. But yeah, no, I'm hyped for that. Nothing really to plug or anything like that. Just follow me on Twitter, follow me along, and listen. Another thing I'll say, the Raptors Republic paywall thing is worth it, brother. It is worth it. If you like Raptors content, that's $6 a month. You won't even freaking notice it coming out of your freaking pocket. It's that good. The content is that good. I'm promising you this. It's helped keep me alive. Okay, literally. But yes,
man.
that's it.
Do it.
That's it. Yeah.
Get in there. Let me just tell the graphic folks at Raptors Republic, based on my take, replace Scotty with OG, please. Just kidding. Josh, what's up? What do you want to let people know?
Just more Down by Two stuff. We just released our latest episode with Aaron Rose, Raptors reporter from Sports Illustrated. So that's kind of like a season preview as well. We have our betting show, DB2 Bets, that comes out every week. As I got to talk to you, hopefully get you on that for some picks as well. We just had Freddie on, so that was a lot of fun. So yeah, just check that out wherever you get your podcast. And just turn around doing as much shows as possible aside from that as well. So keep an eye out, I guess. Yuckyucks.com. But other than that, thank you for checking out any of the Down by Two stuff, and of course follow everything Raptors Republic as well.
Thank you.
Hell
Josh.
yeah. Matty D, let me throw to you before we squeak in under an hour here. What do you want to let people know about us?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think these guys handled it for me. Yeah. Go to raptorsrepublic.com, join the paywall. It's fantastic writing, the best in the country for Raptors content. So yeah, please support them. We will remain free here on the podcast. But as I said before, when it first came out, that being successful affects us as well. We need it all to work together. So yeah, go to dunkspodcast.com. That's our website. You can also listen and watch there. If you like the segments you saw on YouTube, go to the Rapcast on your favorite podcatcher and subscribe and rate, please, and listen to the full episode there. And yeah, I guess we'll see you after week 1 of the Raps.
Beauty. Thanks everyone for listening. We're excited to, do this. We joined last year for the playoffs, so this is our first full year with Raptors Republic. I've been a fan of the site, for a long time, really, like basically since the beginning. So we're pumped to do this. Again, thanks for listening, and check out all these dudes, follow them. And Matty D, if you feel like we're done and we're good to go, please just give me those words I love so much. Okay.
Listen to full episodes of the Confederacy of Dunks only on the Rapcast.